Hey guys, welcome back to the All Gen Gamers podcast. My name is Metal Jesus of Metal Jesus Rocks, and today is April 24th, and this is episode 91. And I'm joined with my host tonight, John, Gamester81. Now, those of you that don't know, John has one of the biggest Star Wars toy collections on the planet. What's going on, John?
What's going on, man? The force is strong with you.
Definitely today.
I sense it.
And we're also joined by Jason Heine of the EMU Review. Now, those people that don't know, Jason's really big into racing games. As a matter of fact, one time he told me he was watching Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, and that scene when the pod racers came on, he was like, I can do that. What's up, Jason?
I do it every day in traffic.
And for some reason, Pete Dorr is not online. He's running a little bit late, but he'll probably join us a little bit later on. We have a very special guest tonight. It's the reason why I'm bringing up all these Star Wars references. His name is Mark Soderwall. He's the president of Authority 5 Entertainment. He's also the founder of GameCreatorsVault.com, which is a really cool website that does video game art, design, and developmental success. It's all about sharing video game knowledge with the public. Now, Mark is a veteran of over 20 years in the video game industry. He has over 40 published games, and most of his roles are around the art side of things. He's been a creative director, a lead designer, a visual designer, an art director. Mark, how's it going, buddy?
Wow, that's quite a mouthful. It's going great. Thank you.
I have notes.
Yeah, I was going to be content with Chief Bottle Washer, but thanks, guys.
Squeaky clean.
Yeah, try to.
Now, I have to start off with a couple questions like we always do, and I kind of warned you of this, and I have two questions for you here. First one is, now since you're an art guy, I was just kind of curious, what's your favorite art in a video game will be question number one. And then number two, keeping it with the Star Wars theme, because you've worked on a bunch of Star Wars games, and we'll get to that. Have you heard the disco version of the Star Wars theme that was released by Miko in the 1970s?
No, I have not.
It is so bizarre. You have to add it to right.
Disco.
Hey, Jason, you gotta get that queued up, man. It's classic. The disco. Can you have that?
I haven't heard of this before either. So
really,
what is it? I'll get it queued up.
Star Wars. Just type in Star Wars disco. Okay,
on YouTube.
Yeah, I think it's probably on YouTube. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. But while he's getting that, tell us, some of your favorite art in a video game that a game that you just over the last couple of years, and it can even be your own, that is just, really sort of moved you and inspired you.
Oh man, that is such a loaded question because my love of video games just goes across all genres, all the way from indie to professional to student. And each one has their own flavor, right? So I'd have to say the first BioShock, when it came out with all the water physics and different things that they had in there, I thought really blew me away because having been in the industry and working on development pipelines and just kind of seeing what goes on behind the scenes, I know how much effort and time goes into generating those types of features and those types of effects. The hundreds of thousands of line of code, the thousands of hours of art time, of shaders being built and different things like that. And so when I look at pieces like that, I can appreciate them just aesthetically, but I can also appreciate them from a working standpoint. And it absolutely blew me away, jaw-dropping, because I was just like, God, this game, the first thing that came to my mind was they spent a boatload of money to make this game because I know the type of resources that they would have to integrate to realize this. And it was a great execution. It was a very well-received title. But also I like a lot of the more stylized games as well. One of my other favorite games from an art standpoint, this will probably make you guys laugh, is Castle Crashers on XBLA. Mm-hmm. I love that real squash and stretch cartoony style. I'm not a big Flash guy, personally speaking, but the execution of the art and the humor that went into the game, anytime you can make a player laugh is awesome. It's easy to scare people, and whatever. You've got Dead Space where you've got, people throwing up fetuses and, whatever. And that's jarring and that's shock value. But anytime you can make them laugh, then you've honed in on design right there. So Castle Crashers made me laugh, and I really liked the art style as well. It's very loose, very fun.
Now you're no stranger to games with resources. I'm going to kind of go over very quickly some of the games that you've worked on, and this is by no means a complete list. This is simply just what I found on MobyGames.com. But you, I guess going back to 1996, you worked on Toonstruck for Virgin.
Yeah.
NBA Live 97 for Electronic Arts. Command and Conquer for Nintendo. Was that for the N64?
Yeah, it was. So we decided to try and, move our hand towards a 3D version of that RTS. Yeah.
And then you worked on a couple Terminator games. You worked on Terminator Dawn of Fate and then also Rise of the Machines, right?
Yeah, those were wonderful nightmares. They were wonderful.
What platforms were those for, Mark?
That was for the PS2 and I believe for the Xbox, the last gen.
That's cool.
And then you worked on Demon's Stone, which is one of my favorites for Atari. You also worked on Fracture, and then 2 Star Wars games. One of my all-time favorites, I think, is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. The Force Unleashed, and then also you worked on the Clone Wars, correct? Like Clone Wars Republic Heroes, I think is what it was called.
Well, it wasn't Clone Wars Republic Heroes. It was actually Clone Wars lightsaber duel for the Nintendo Wii.
Oh, for the Wii.
And it was based on the Clone Wars TV series, the cartoon. The 3D animated series with Anakin and Kenobi and all those guys, Rex, Cody. And we were trying to create an experience that was kind of based on some of the highlighted episodes of the TV series with Anakin and Kenobi and Ventress and a lot of the other characters in the game. And I spent, when we were in pre-production of the game, there had already been about 2 or 3 of the animated series that had already been in the can and ready for release. So, I got to go over to Lucas Ranch, which was just awesome, and sit down with the director, Dave Filioni, and a lot of their production team. And we sat in a conference room for about 3 hours, and I just mined information out of these guys by, what are the main features? What are the main contours? What are the main color palettes, the tones, the lighting, the feel, the mood, all these aesthetics I was trying to draw out from their production working on TV. How could I incorporate those high levels into the game on kind of a lesser platform like the Nintendo Wii? Because we were restricted by obviously the engine, the memory, ceiling of the platform and different things like that. So I wanted to make sure that I was actually talking to the people that created it and getting from them what was the most important feature to make sure that was realized in the game. And so the back and forth was just absolutely inspiring. These guys and these girls were so freaking talented. It was a humbling experience. It really was.
You said you went to Skywalker Ranch?
Yeah.
Wow, how was that experience?
Yeah, I geeked out.
Yeah.
I geeked out. I remember the first time that I actually met George Lucas. He came into a meeting that we were having. And I knew he was going to be attending, and there was about 25 of us in the room. And in my mind, I'm rehearsing. I'm saying, okay, don't geek out, don't man worship. No, just look at the desk. Don't make eye contact. Don't piss yourself. And sure enough, I was cool. And he walked into the room, and what do? Boom! I immediately put eyes on the guy, and I just can't stop looking at this dude. I'm like, do you? It sounds so stupid because you sit there and you're like, by the way, George, do you know who you are? Do you know what you've created? Do you know the generations of people that you've had wearing your underwear and bed sheets and toys and all this stuff? I mean, it's crazy, being in a room with a legend like that. So again, humbling, inspiring, great experience. I will never forget it.
Now, I know that you also worked on another Star Wars game that a lot of people were looking forward to, and I know you can talk a little bit about it, and that is you worked on Star Wars Battlefront 3, correct?
That is correct.
And it never came out. I mean, why is that?
Make sure to follow us, the All Gen Gamers podcast, on Facebook and Twitter. Subscribe to us on YouTube and in iTunes. And don't forget about those iTunes ratings, guys. We appreciate those. And for all other info, links, and our forum, please visit www.allgengamers.com.